Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Amanda. If you're new here, I'm a fourth and final year degree apprentice on the trading floor of an investment bank. Welcome to season 1, episode 1 of Degree Apprentice Diaries. If you haven't seen the introductory video, please do go ahead and watch that. I posted that before this one, obviously. This video will kind of introduce the concept, introduce the idea of apprenticeships and early careers to those that are still unfamiliar. I'll be answering 4 main questions. What are degree apprenticeships? How does a degree apprenticeship work? What industries offer degree apprenticeships? And how do I apply? So yeah, if you want those questions answered, keep on watching this video. So what is a degree apprenticeship? A degree apprenticeship is essentially a cost-effective way to obtain your bachelor's or master's degree whilst gaining valuable work experience at the same time. You essentially combine work with study. You wouldn't pay any tuition fees, so you enjoy a fully funded university experience, sometimes from a Russell Group university. And on top of that, you're also a full-time, usually permanent, definitely salaried employee. I said a lot there. I did make a point on, being a permanent employee. I made that emphasis just because some roles you can be permanent and some roles they're temporary, and then your role is reevaluated at the end of your apprenticeship, whether you're kept on or not. Job security is definitely something to consider. With all of the benefits I've just listed, you can kind of see how this is a no-brainer. The salary, not paying tuition fees, not paying exam fees, gaining valuable work experience, that's literally like gold in the corporate world. It's literally a no-brainer when you compare it next to university. So take this as a propaganda that you need to be considering an early career. At least consider it. Maybe in the end it turns out it's not for you, but at least give it more than a second thought. So how do they work? I think the first thing I'm going to address here is the apprenticeship levy, in terms of like how it works from a financial standpoint. Because obviously it is a costly thing. You're paying them a salary, you're paying for their degree, you're paying for any exam fees and any resources they might need. Large corporations, when they get to a certain size, when their wage bill is a certain amount, they are then liable to pay a tax. And that pot of money can only be used to hire apprentices and train apprentices. So obviously these companies, these massive organizations, can either let that money go to waste, let that money sit there, because I think after a certain period of time it gets given to the government. If they were to use the money, obviously they can benefit from that because they're training up junior talent. And that's why as well the quality of apprenticeships are to such an extent, because it's the company's money. Like, it's not free money from the government, it's money that they would have otherwise lost, but it's still their own money and they care about getting a return on their investment. So apprenticeship programs are really high in quality. The training is really good quality. Teaching will be good quality as well. So some of them even offering degrees with Russell Group universities. So that was a bit of financial information about how it's actually working and where the money's actually coming from. In terms of how it actually works in practice day to day, delivery models will vary because each apprenticeship is different. Varies by employer, varies by training provider. So there's no right or wrong way when it comes to executing an apprenticeship. The employer, the training provider will work together to make the program as suitable as possible to the candidate in terms of what they're actually going to be doing at work and how that marries up to what they're learning, and also how that marries up to what they have to evidence in their portfolio. So different programs have different ways of doing things. My program, I would describe it as a blended learning program, and that just means I work 4 days a week and I study 1 day a week. So there's no period where I'm only ever just studying and one period where I'm only ever just working. Whereas I know that there are some apprenticeships like that where it's like a block of study, a block of work. So you kind of have that compartmentalization going on where you can think that, okay, this is what I'm focusing on at this point in time. Whereas my program is very much juggling. Don't let a certain delivery model put you off unless it's not for you. Just consider how best you learn. Obviously, juggling work and study concurrently is a lot more difficult than just working then studying. So just think about the type of person you are, think about what you can handle. I also touched on a couple of things earlier that I'll just quickly go into a bit more detail about so it doesn't present further questions. So with an apprenticeship, there are technically 3 elements. So there's the work element, there's the university or financial qualification element, and again, that might even be further split into 2 elements if you do both a degree and financial qualifications. The final element would then be your portfolio. So one thing that apprentices have to do as required by the government is that they have to demonstrate that they are a good use of the money that the company has spent that would have otherwise gone to the government. So the government can't allow that money to have not gone to them without giving good cause for why it's gone back to the company with the high wage bill, right? So what the government asks is that, there's an apprenticeship body, completely third party that will assess this candidate. They assess the candidate by way of written reports or journal entries, if you like, where they prove/evidence that they've met certain criteria. Different criteria of, do you know what you're talking about? Do you know what your industry does? Do you know what your role is? Can you communicate that professionally? Essentially, what the government wants to make sure is that companies aren't just hiring young people and not training them up and not making them fit for purpose. that's what the portfolio is. And you know, when you sum up all the words, it's even longer than a dissertation because you write it throughout the years. So then there are also delivery considerations when it comes to how your apprenticeship is actually being managed. Is every single thing in person? You know, a lot of mine is like online interaction because my university is outside of London. If you ended up getting a university in the city that you live in or that you work in, you know, they might make everything in person. The next question is, what industries actually offer apprenticeships? This is a non-exhaustive list: finance, banking, insurance. You have the medicines, health and social care, construction, engineering, manufacturing. So like trade apprenticeships are very well known. Data, and then like creative and designs like marketing, fashion, things like that. You can literally find apprenticeships in over 1,000 occupations in over 100 different industries. Like, I couldn't begin to quantify it. Go out there and have a look. If there's an industry that you're thinking of that isn't one that I've named, it's very maybe niche, just go out there and have a look and see if there is an apprenticeship in that. Because again, like I said, the only reason these apprenticeships are even in existence is because companies that have gotten to a certain size and their wage pool has increased to a certain level have to pay money. So if there's a really, really big corporation in your industry, maybe they've released some apprenticeships. How do I apply for an apprenticeship? So I'll definitely cover this in an in-depth video. This is not all that I will say on this topic because it deserves a separate video. This is very much an introduction. UCAS have recently, I think, added like an apprenticeship section to their website, but it's still not really through there. They kind of just link to the main place. So essentially, applications for degree apprenticeships, early careers, etc., are employer-led. Employers recruit at different times throughout the year. Obviously, because they are catering to school leavers, they do try to be mindful of like the school season. So they will release around that September, October time to January the year prior or the year before you want to start. And your application process can last like several months. So it's not as cut and dry as UCAS. Is basically a job application. You apply directly to the company. If you've applied to like work at McDonald's or Asda, part-time, whatever, it's kind of similar to that. But again, I will talk about like how to actually go about getting one. In terms of entry requirements, it varies again because it's employer to employer. The university also varies, so the requirements can be higher, they can be lower. I would say just try to do well in any sort of academic process that you go through. A-levels, GCSEs, all of it, do well. You can watch my A-level results day video, you can watch my GCSE results day video. I'm a very academic babe, so I will always encourage you to do well in academics just because it gives you more options, it gives you more choice. You don't want to be in a position where you cannot do something because you don't have the grades. You never want to find yourself in that position. So always put your best foot forward, give yourself the best chance possible, do well. But you know, you can definitely find apprenticeships from 3Cs at A-level onwards and then the equivalent at BTEC. So as long as you have that, you'll be good. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Hopefully you are feeling a lot more informed about the topic of early careers. If there are any further questions of something I said or something completely unrelated, feel free to comment and I will do my best to answer. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you guys in the next episode.